We will return to your scheduled programming shortly, or we are currently experiencing technical difficulties.
Anal na trach, was betad, doch jel dienle.
Ariel natris oris bazi bedhead duchel dementa. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Oh man, I know Bird of Prey is gonna watch this tomorrow, so I just love the way you say that. I don't know why, it's just so hilarious. How you guys doing? Michael J. Crawford, the Anti-Trekker here. Sorry, I am late. I apologize. My boss actually was out sick today, so at the end of the day, I had some stuff I had to deal with because I was filling in for him. So I am truly sorry. Wasn't expecting that, but had kind of a last-minute situation brew at work that I had to help get resolved before I could move on. Now, real quick, I heard somebody say that Orville was awesome tonight. I haven't watched it yet, so I'm looking forward to that. However, at the suggestion of Thomas Potts, I'm going to experiment with this week. So my Saturday night live stream is going to be a live reaction of Orville. And so I will not watch it until Saturday night. And then I will watch it while talking to you guys. So we'll see if that goes well. If not, we'll scrap it. But if we have a good time, we'll keep doing that if that's what you guys want. And no, I am not drunk with power, but depending on how good the episode is, I may be shortly. All right, so let's talk about the Sound of Thunder. Which is now episode 6 of season 2 of Discovery. Now I don't know for sure, but they should be right about the mid-season break, either this episode or next episode. I haven't looked, but I would assume that we're getting close to the end. So I'm going to guess if this week is the season break, then I think that we'll see Spock. If next week is the season break, I think we'll see Spock next week. Also, I am... well, we'll see. I know this one has something to do with Saru. We'll see how that goes. But I do need a little bracer here to get ready. Oh, man. This is going to be painful. All right, so now here are the rules. When I'm doing the Discovery reviews, I can't pay as close attention to the chat as I normally do because of the fact that I'm actually trying to watch the Discovery episode. So I will ask you this. And Thomas and Nightbreeze, thank you both for the super chats. I'll get to you in just a second. So I will say this. I don't want to take 4.5 hours to get through the episode, so I'm going to try to focus on the episode, but then I do have the chat screen up here, so if I see a super chat pop up or something, I will stop and take a break and address whatever we're talking about, and then get back to it. In the meantime, Thomas shows $4.99 and says, if you did your boss's work, are you getting his pay? I don't think there's a season break. And you want Uber chat number 6? You got it, my friend, because, oh, it's, yeah.
I now pronounce you man and turd. You may now kiss.
Joshua, what are you doing?
Ah! Nothing, nothing! I'm definitely not making you kiss Law. I repeat, I am not making you kiss Law. I'm definitely not. Hello, unfortunately there's not going to be a part 4. Dad just fixed the computer and he promises not to destroy it again as long as I don't do another one of those, so there's going to be no part 4. Wait, hold on, I just got a text message. Please do these videos, Part 4 is very anticipated. Nope, I quit.
Get him!
Sing it! Sing it! Sing it!
All right. And Night Breeze throws another 5 in and just says, Uber chat number 6. So Night Breeze, let me ask you, and I'm going to skip to the end of the chat in just a second to check. Do you want me to play it a second time, or would you rather pick something else since Thomas picked it right in front of you? Because I want to give you that opportunity. I'll take a look at some of the other comments, and then I'll get to you here in just a second. Did you remove the breakals from the office? No, unfortunately I did not. So hopefully nothing gets destroyed during tonight's episode. Mr. Miles, you keep talking about Mass Effect, Star Trek Discovery is a ripoff. I can see that there's definitely some similarities. I haven't played a lot of Mass Effect, but I've seen it enough to see what you're talking about. Woohoo! We get to watch the Anti-Tracker descend even further into madness. Thanks, Mars. If you don't wrench me, I'm going to get timed out for sending too many messages. Well, I won't time you out for sending too many messages because I'll just ignore you. So Lore wants more number 8. Biddy Hill sketch, poor Joshua. Hey, actually, that was Ensign Ricky's suggestion, but yes. Let's go with Uber chat number 5. You got it.
So, does anybody really know why we're fighting anyway?
Well, I think... Hey, didn't he vote for Trump?
He did.
Get him!
So remember, if anyone has an opinion, they're probably wrong.
Now we know!
And knowing is half the battle.
Benny, you remember seeing Benny Hill and those magnificent men in their flying machines? So wasn't he in... I want to say he was in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, actually. Let me see... But I'm not 100% sure, but it's been a long time since I've watched Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, so I don't know, but that just seems like... Yes, he was in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. He was the toy maker. So yes, that's, I remember that. And yeah, he was also in The Italian Job as Professor Simon Peach. I didn't catch that. So there we go. He was not in a ton of movies, but he was in a couple. All right, so let's see. Joshua says, "Is the Benny Hill sketch why Joshua goes back in time to stop himself from making Uber 6 in the first?" I don't know if he's going to do any more involving that storyline, but we'll see. Oh, by the way, oh man, I hope there is not another comm badge moment. That really pissed me off. And speaking of pissing me off, just looking at the screen, and I haven't even started playing the episode yet, is beginning to piss me off a little bit, and I'll put it up here for you so you can see. Yes, an advertisement for CBS All Access upcoming series, The Twilight Zone, premiering on April 1st. Yeah. So, at least I know after Discovery's done, I'll have something else on CBS All Access to watch. Hey, Entry Trekker, are you reviewing the latest Star Trek Discovery episode? If so, are we doing, I assume going to see you get hammered. I hope not, but it's a possibility. All right, so let me mute the computer sounds so that you
previously on Star Trek Discovery.
Section 31?
She's tracking a suspected murderer.
I muted the wrong line, so you could hear Discovery, but you couldn't hear me. So yeah, sorry about that. I got it fixed now. All right, so let's get going now. Sorry about that. And let's see. All right, so we start out as usual with them recapping what we've seen in the past, seeing Stamets getting Hugh getting murdered and Stamets holding his body, naked Hugh again, because yeah, that's what we need. Now the giant ball from last week, which the ball itself actually I thought was a cool concept, but it was obviously a lot of the crap around the ball that was pissing me off. Yeah, Captain's logs are, yeah, you're right. They're replaced by narration at the beginning of these episodes. I'm so sick of hearing Michael Burnham narrate the beginning of every episode because she's the most important person in the freaking universe. So Mr. Miles says he saved my channel tonight. How'd you do that? Oh, by pointing out the reverse mute. No, I actually caught it before I read your comment, but thank you for the effort, Mr. Miles. All right, so now we're getting into new stuff. We see whatever the name of Saru's home planet. Got the weird CG butterfly. Holy crap! Okay, I got to pause it already. Okay. I'm gonna say something. I know. Please, I hope you're sitting down. I'm not getting a drink right now. I'm going to say something positive about Star Trek Discovery. All right? So hope you're okay. As far as I know, this is the first episode that I can recall that doesn't start with Michael Burnham narrating. That's a promising sign to me. So it actually starts with Saru narrating, which makes sense because we're looking at his home planet. But I'm impressed. I'm actually impressed. All right, let's hit the play button and see if this continues. We could actually have a good episode on our hands. So Saru's top. Okay, that was an interesting transition. We saw the beach on his house, and the camera pans over through some plants, and then you see a comm badge, and it's actually you're in Saru's quarters, and he's because he has plants all over his quarters. So that was a nice little transition. I'll give him some artistic style credit there. That actually wasn't bad. Saru's still tripping on the fact that he doesn't have his threat gangula anymore. Is he going to be the Mary Saru? Wow. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. And I know some people... You may think this is really bad and superficial of me to point this out, but I still think that this... I don't buy this as an up-and-coming, young, commanding officer in Starfleet. Look at Tilly. She's just getting bigger, like every episode. She needs to lay off the cheeseburgers. I mean, I'm sorry. She does. By the end of the season, if this keeps up, she's going to be flat out fat. And the thing that bothers me the most about this, it's not the fact that I mean, heck, Scotty turned into a whale back in the original series films. But the thing that bothers me about it is not even the fact that she's fat. It's the fact that 2 episodes ago, she won a marathon. Does nobody see the irony in that? All right, so meanwhile, Arium, I guess, is the robot girl, is helping them go through all the information from the information dump from last week. All right, how much you want to bet the information dump from last week is going to end up saving their butts in this episode? That's just, yeah, lazy screenwriting, but whatever. All right, let's move on. Did the badge chirp when Saru picked it up? I didn't catch that, Hector, but I'll go back and look for it when I do my regular review. And yeah, it's possible if Tilly's pregnant, I could forgive that, but I still wouldn't forgive the marathon thing because that was bad. All right, so... All right, let's see. Let's take a look here. So Tilly is geeking out over how awesome the ball info is. That it's a delicious slice of galaxy pie, is the way she's describing it. Saru's in sickbay, obviously still being checked out because of all his weirdness. And Hugh is right across from him in another bed. And he's feeling kind of depressed. So, can you hear Discovery? You shouldn't be able to hear Discovery. Yeah, Tilly definitely, I think you're right, John. Tilly needs to lay off the galaxy pie. That's the problem. So, Saru's trying to be inspirational to Hugh, talking about how amazing it is that he's alive, blah, 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 blah. And Tilly is pregnant. Ew! Hey, Captain Foley would hit that in a moment, so, Daniel, there is that. So it's interesting because Hugh and Saru have actually both been through... Well, Hugh was flat out dead, and Saru thought he was about to die, and they both came out of it obviously different. So, I think that they could have a little bit of a bond over that. So the doctor is talking about... Oh, okay. So his threat gangula are now teeth. They're teeth. He has teeth growing out of the back of his head. Awesome. So, okay. All right. I'm calling it right now. I got it. And I don't know. Maybe I'm completely off base, but okay. So he had threat gangula. Now he has teeth growing in the back of his head. So here's my prediction. Saru has transformed from a prey to a predator. So, and yeah, I would agree, Hector. He's definitely not going to sleep in a waterbed anytime soon. All right, so the doctor is explaining that she's looked over his brain scans and stuff like that, and he's had changes, but she has no idea what these changes mean because he's the only Kelpian that they've ever examined, so they don't have anything to go on. So Saru is saying how he doesn't feel, he's like, what is he? Because he doesn't have fear, and how weird is that? And now we see a really bad shot of some planets, but, oh well. With a glowing fireball. So now Ash is briefing Pike and Michael Burnham about Section 31's official positions on the red burst and crap. It's like, how can Section 31 have an official... I know we're beyond that. Section 31 is no longer a super secret organization. It's just the guys with the black badges. Anyway. So they're discussing what happened before, that the Red Angel transported people across the galaxy before they would gotten killed. So Ash is trying to be Section 31. The problem is he's too nice a guy. He comes across as too nice a guy to be Section 31. He's trying to say things that are tough and mean and everything, but it comes across as soft, and that's just not right for a Section 31 operative. And who the hell is doing these camera movements? Oh my God. Look, I'll show you this just for a second. I didn't pause it. Notice how the camera's just constantly moving, but then it'll jump to, oh, that's in another spot, and it's just constantly going in. It's been doing this for like a minute and a half now. Who is the idiot that directed that shot? Ugh. All right, so, yeah, that was a horribly done shot. All right, so now they picked up another red burst. And Oas is decided it's at Kaminar, which is Saru's home planet. So the red burst is officially at Saru's home planet, which means they're going to have to go to Saru's home planet. The multi-gunman says, I directed that shot. Thanks a lot, Dick. Well, then you should not direct another thing again, multi-gunman. Credits are rolling now. That was an absolutely horrific... Because here's the thing about camera movement. All right, and you know, when I took my courses in cinematography and stuff, the camera movement is much like editing with a film. If it's done perfectly, and I mean perfectly, then when you finish watching the movie, you will not think about it at all, right? So the best camera movement feels organic. You don't even think about the fact that the camera's moving because the camera becomes like a vehicle to pull your emotions. However, when the camera is just like, you know, like they're like intentionally going, hey guys, we can move the camera around. That is distracting. And so that's just a load of crap. Kobayashi Maru Faili says, if the camera stands still for 1 second, the whole audience will change channel. Fact. I think that the audience that they're going for, that would be true, but if they wanted the show to be successful, that would not be true. Star Trek Cloverfield. No, it's not shaky cam. It's definitely not shaky cam. It's just stupid cam with the rotating camera. All right, so nice shot of Discovery at Warp because once again they got getting smart and not showing all of Discovery in a single shot because it looks horrible when they do. What? What? Hold on. What? I gotta go back. Okay. His finest name, Kaminar, is in that species of banana? Yeah, apparently it is. So, again, we know that the producers and writers of Star Trek Discovery don't give a crap about canon. Now, I'm hoping for a little bit of improvement in that starting with this episode, mainly because I know that this is the first full episode that is with the reshuffled showrunners and everything. However, here's the problem. Even if the prior canon comes from Star Trek Discovery, as long as it's not violating other canon, they need to adhere to that canon, right? So if they say something like, for example, that Michael Burnham was adopted by Sarek, right? As much as I don't like that fact, then it would be stupid if later they said, oh no, she was adopted by Captain Kirk or something stupid like that, right? No. So you got to stay consistent. Now, I don't know how many of you saw the short trek called The Brightest Star, which I hated with a passion. And one thing that a lot of people, including myself, kind of thought was stupid was the fact that 20 or so years ago, young Lieutenant Georgiou, who still looks like she's old Michelle Yeoh, but young Lieutenant Georgiou shows up to rescue Saru from his horrible exile, and she comes down in a shuttle that is from the Shinzo, right? And a lot of people said, holy crap, she spent her entire career on one ship. How stupid is that? Well, they retconned it. So she was no longer on the Shinzo in The Brightest Star, which only aired, what, in November? Right? It's technically like, it's closer to season 2 than season 1. So they took an episode. And by the way, that episode was filmed while they were filming this episode. They were filming simultaneously. That's how they did the short treks. That's why the short treks take place on locations that they have episodes take place in. And so we knew we were going to go to the Kelpian homeworld because they showed the Kelpian homeworld. Just like probably the locations that Harry Mudd was, we're going to see those by the end of this season. Because it was a cost-cutting measure, and it's a smart move from a production standpoint. But there is no way in hell that they didn't know what the name of the ship was that Captain Georgiou was on, because they were filming that scene probably within a week or so of filming this scene. However, here's the actual subtitle. It was the USS Archimedes. The freaking the USS Archimedes. That's worthy of a drink. So, Brian, they need 10 million an episode is not enough. They need to spend. Here's the thing. I've said it before, and I maintain. I could produce a Star Trek or a science fiction series that looks on par with Discovery and is a better storyline for 1/10 of the cost. Easily. Absolutely easily. All right, so, granted, if the story is good, I'll forgive the Archimedes thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, it still pisses me off that they can't even follow their own canon, that they're filming at the same time that they're filming this one. But, whatever. Let's move on. Let me, okay, I already hid the desktop. Let's go. And now, okay, oh my God. All right, look, we knew that they were filming The Brightest Star at the same time they were filming this episode. But look, and I'm not going to show the whole thing, but look, this is from The Brightest Star. This shot is not for this episode. This is when he was redoing the tech from The Brightest Star. They are showing flashbacks from the short trek that they're filming at the same time they're filming this episode, and they screw up the continuity. Well, at least they have one good point tonight. That is an improvement. That's true. That is true. And I will... sorry if I'm yelling too much. I will calm down. So, yeah, this is just asinine as far as the production team stuff. Now, granted, this doesn't say anything about the story overall, but at least this part is stupid. And yeah, maybe it's the legal pot. Maybe the writer's room is spending a little too much time sucking down that legal herb in your state. That could be. Nah, drink more, yell less. I'm going to try not to drink too much, so... all right, so let's take a look here. Yeah, they're showing like half the short trek stuff about how he stole some... You know, they didn't mention that the Bao's ships just kind of fall apart at random, but whatever. Charlita's here saying, poop is not funny. Good to see you, Charlita. And I saw that Alexander's here as well. Good to see you, my friend. Sorry I didn't read your comment initially, but I'm trying to get through the episode. I don't want to be here until 5 in the morning like last week. So, yeah. All right. Oh, what? All right. I'm going to try to see. Let me show you guys, because, look, this is the scene where Georgiou meets Saru for the first time from the short trek. And notice it says serving on the Archimedes. Oh, man, they doubled down on it. That shuttle said Shinzo on it, but it looks like they might have changed it. So I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to have to go back and rewatch The Brightest Stars. Painful as that's going to be. And the problem is that knowing them, they might have changed it since it originally aired. And I didn't, like, download it at the time. So... Shots... No, I already took a shot for the other thing. I'm not going to just take shots for everything unless somebody bribes me. But I'm going to, because I don't want to just die here. All right, let's move on. Yeah, so and I'll show you this real quick. Sorry, this is Georgiou from, that was her from 20 years ago, because she looks so young there, right? Because she has shadows on her face. Alright, so, yeah, retconning Canada's already been retconned. Absolutely. How many shots tonight? Oh, only about, what, 3 so far tonight. So, we'll see. And Trekker, or A, you're getting old and your memory is going, or B, Star Trek Discovery has rotted your brain, the damage becoming apparent about the Shinzo. Well, maybe. I mean, are you saying that it was the Archimedes in the short trek? Because I don't remember it being the Archimedes. I remember it being the Shinzo. But it's been a while. So I only watched The Brightest Star like twice, and that was when it first came out. And I haven't watched it since. You know, part of me wants to actually go and look, but I'm not going to do that until I get through this, and even then, only if I have time. John throws $2 in. Thank you so much. Number 7, because it's pertinent to your predicament. All right, my friend. Thank you so much. Oh, man. You gotta drink, eat the kelp. All right, so thank you, John. I do appreciate it. I have people drinking in solidarity with me. Thank you, Mars. Hopefully we all survive the night. Their budget is too damn big, says Darth Maul. When you can waste so much money and have no focus, shoestring budgets are the best. You're right. Star Trek has always done well when it's on a low budget. In my humble opinion, and I know some of you may disagree with me, but I still think the original series is the best of all Star Trek. And it was on a budget of $180,000 an episode, which is roughly $1.3 million today, which for a science fiction series is pretty low. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, almost unanimously felt is the best Star Trek adventure of all time, had the lowest budget of any Star Trek film, even when adjusted for inflation. It was $11 million. That was the entire budget of Star Trek II. $11 million. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Well, gee, Andy Trekker, that was 1982. And so that's like a $150 million movie today. No, inflation doesn't go that much. And to put in context, Star Trek The Motion Picture, which came out before it, so in 1979, had a budget of $40 million. So 4 times the budget of Star Trek II. Right, so yeah, throwing a lot of money at Trek is not a good idea. Alexander throws 2 of his fake Canadian bucks into the ring. Thank you so much, my friend. And what was that? I have no idea what that was, but whatever. And it says, the Baku are better than Discovery. So far, I have to agree with you, Alexander. I do. Josh says, no sound. No sound? What are you talking about, Josh? You got to be smoking some of that California. Yeah, I played it for a second on my computer. I can definitely hear it. All right, so let's see. Anything else? I'm going deaf. Sorry. Pay attention to the chat, damn you. Mr. Miles, I can't pay attention to the chat the whole time, or else I won't get through this. This is a sign of Andy Trekker being drunk when he forgets to unmute the super chats. Oh, that's what you were yelling no sound about. I'm sorry.
And pork. It is with cooking with the pork and the pork. The guy with the cow, and we're gonna make the kelp. Here's bring out the kelp.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, the kelp, get it in the pot.
Get in the pot here.
And then we stir the kelp. That's a good kelp.
Okay.
I am sorry about that, guys. I know the sound thing is it always throws me off on Thursday nights. I'll get used to it eventually, or I will end up hanging myself because Star Trek Discovery doesn't get any better. Enter, how much did you drink before starting the stream since you had the super chat muted? I didn't have anything to drink before the stream because I was working right up until when I started the stream. However, a great soundtrack on Star Trek 2. You are 100% right, Kobayashi. That is, I love every song from Star Trek 2. What was it? Horner did that one. And, man, I love that soundtrack. Meanwhile, Trolita, thank you so much. Throws $2.99 into the chat. Says, woman's, but with sound, you lightweight. I'm really not drunk. It's just, you have to, I wish you could see what all I'm doing here. It gets very complicated. And only when I'm doing this Discovery reviews do I have to worry about the sound, turning it on and off. And so I apologize for that, but it's going to happen every once in a while.
I'm a better female character than you.
You would be if you didn't spend all your time with that temper tantrum meme guy.
At least I'm not the one on a show with a questionable acronym.
Take it back.
No.
Yes.
Oops. Sorry to bother you.
And even the Kazon are better than Discovery. That's pushing it, but I mean, maybe a Kazon show wouldn't be as good as Discovery. But, yeah, the Kazon episodes of Voyager are better overall than Discovery. All right, so the shuttle says SHN03. Yeah, that would be the freaking Shinzo. Don't give me some crap that, oh, well, it's just the Shin shuttle. But, whatever. Just think if you had to do this. Oh, I couldn't do this one on the laptop. I think this is going to drive me crazy. Good morning, Anti-Trucker says, Oz of Sweden. Love your stream, so thank you. Thank you, Oz. I truly appreciate it. And I apologize in this particular case that I'm not paying so close to attention to the chat as I should, but that's because this is, in fact, a Thursday night. Tentacle is in the house. Good to see you, Tentacle. I love arguing with you, my friend. Says, F the Prime Directive. We're Starfleet. We can invade any planet we want. We're no border activists. Yeah, apparently. But, so the Ba'u have been warp capable for some time, apparently, but they're isolationists, while the Kelpians are not warp capable. So, I think that draws an interesting distinction, because the Prime Directive specifically is about pre-warp civilizations. Now, and I know it sounds like Baal, but it's the Ba'ul. Kind of like Gawould from SG-1. But this is the thing about the Prime Directive, and I'm sure they're going to have a talk about the Prime Directive in a minute. And I'll be curious to see where they fall on it. However, since now what they've already revealed in this episode that they did not reveal in The Brightest Star is that the Ba'u are from the same planet as the Kelpians. Now, that's something that I wasn't sure of. When The Brightest Star, I didn't think it would make sense. Why would you have a technologically advanced race of sentient, intelligent beings on the same planet as another sentient, intelligent race that is living in the Stone Age? That doesn't seem to make sense. However, that being said, you could also argue that even here on Earth, you have people living in high-tech countries like the United States or South Korea or most of Europe, and then you have people like in the Amazonian areas and in parts of Africa and stuff that are living like man lived thousands of years ago. So I guess you could draw that analogy, but the difference is we're not different species, right? We only have one sentient species that we know of on this planet. Unless, of course, you're a progressive and you think that everything that has any kind of feeling is sentient. But I'm not even going there. Meanwhile, John throws $10 into the chat. You guys are not going to let me finish this tonight, but thank you, John. Glad I didn't pay for a Mega 5 with the sound muted. Mega chat number 5. All right, guys. We're gonna bring up the pain so that all you guys can feel a little my pain with me.
The board vessel's moving into range.
On screen.
Let's get lost in that magic place all alone now. Drink your fill from my fountain of love, wet your lips. I'm a man, I'm a teaser, I'm a man, well I'm a virgin, I'm a man, I'm a one-night stand, a man, I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a dream, I'm a dream divine, make love together.
He's dead.
And by the way, let me say this about Mega Chat number 5 real quick before I move on. Is there is only one person on this planet that can even dare to share a stage with Lore Reloaded singing. And what I mean is, there's only one person that can possibly miss notes as eloquently as Lore Reloaded does. Only one person that can possibly stumble over lyrics like Lore Reloaded does. That person, of course, is our own very good friend, Bird of Prey. There is a couple of differences here, but I'll get into that in a future video. However, I just want you all to be prepared for this, because it's entirely possible that Mega Chat number 5 may change in the very near future into a duet. Just so you know. In the meantime, Alexander says, like the Baku, they are post-warp civilization. Yeah, I think that would the Prime Directive apply? I would say no, because the civilization of the planet is post-warp, even though the Kelpians specifically are not. And so, for example, some people think that, for example, dolphins are super intelligent, right? So does that mean that you judge the technology level of Earth based on dolphins or based on humans? That's kind of what I'm getting at. Night Breeze throws $2 in, says number 8 and a shot. Damn you. Alright, fine. If I get drunk, I'm going to tell Mrs. Anti-Tracker it's your guys' fault. Alright, so thank you, Night Breeze. Oh, yeah. And number 8, speaking of Bird of Prey.
Anal na trach, was betad, doch jel dienle.
Ariel Natris Oris Bazi Bedhead Duchel Dementa. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
So, to kind of put that in context for those of you that don't know this, and that reading from Bird of Prey, the second half of that super chat, is actually Bird of Prey attempting to read the lines that you see in the first one. I mean, I literally just copied the line that Merlin the Magician says in that scene from Excalibur and posted it in the chat for Bird of Prey, and that's how he read it. So that's why I think it's so funny. If you get drunk, then won't remember the torture of tonight's STD episode. That's true. That's true. That could help. And don't you worry, Alexander. Even if Mega Chat 5 becomes a duet, 7 of 9 will still be there just for you. All right. So don't worry. Vanilla Crown and Sam's Cherry Cola is a good blend. Ooh. Dang. You know, I actually have some Coke Zero with cherry here. That's tempting because I don't have a whole lot of Royal Crown left. And so that is tempting. But I don't want to crack it open because I have a full drink right here and then I'd be wasting it. So unfortunately, I'll have to table that one. All right. So let's move on. Trek viewers in the house, good to see you. And let's go. 7 of 9 is thought. What does thought mean? I've seen people post that before, but T-H-O-T. I mean, I get it. It has something to do with hot. But what is the T for? Trolita, I genuinely don't know. I'm old. I know. What does T-H-O-T mean as opposed to just hot? That hoe over there? How did... I just figured it meant someone that's like really hot. Like, yeah, like the hot, right. But why that hoe over there? Was... All right, I'm not going to waste my time on that because otherwise I'm never... You guys are just trying to keep me up all night. It's possible that Red Angels are the Discovery crew. Calypso showed that the ship will end up stuck in the future with no crew. Apparently they end up in the past. That... Oh, man. That could be how they try to tie Calypso into this. But I don't know. I'll give my... Well, we'll see. All right, so moving on. So Pike realizes, it's not just a coincidence that the Red Angel would show up at the homeworld of his first officer. So Ash doesn't believe that the Red Angel is a person as much as just a phenomenon. Pike seems convinced that the Red Angel... It looks humanoid. I mean, there's no reason to think that it's just a random phenomenon. It seems to have a purpose. It seems to do things with reason. So I think Pike is on the right here. Alexander throws a couple of bucks in and says, Bernie 2020. I think that's not going to happen, Alexander, but I appreciate your exuberance there. And Trekker, you have not said Alexia call mom in the stream. You're right. I haven't said Alexa call mom, and I haven't said Alexa set alarm 1 a.m. or Alexa set alarm 2 a.m. or anything like that. I really should be better about that. All right, so let's get back into this here. So Saru is once again explaining the whole Baul and the great balance and all that crap about how Baul eat him and all that. So the Baul's technology is the reason that the Kelpians are subservient to them. No Kelpian has ever even seen a Baul, so we don't know what the Bauls look like, which means one of two things. Either the Baul are Kelpians, and they're just like Kelpians maybe after the Gangula fell off, or the Baul are not nearly as imposing as you would think, considering they eat Kelpians. And here's the thing. So I'm formulating a theory here. I could be off base, but here's the thing. So the Gangula drops off of Saru, and all of a sudden he loses his fear, and he starts growing freaking teeth out of the back of his head. So that, I said earlier, gives me the idea that Kelpians go from being prey to predator. Does that mean that the Baul are the prey? And that the Kelpians having their little... Because I remember when the ball showed up and his Gangula went nuts and he said, that's how we know it's time for us to die. What if the Kelpians, that's just like their version of puberty or something. They lose their Gangula and they become aggressive predators, and the whatchamacallits, the Baul, are afraid of them. And so they kill them in order to perpetuate themselves. Commodore says you just figured out the rest of the episode. I might have, I don't know, but if that's the case, I'll say this. Well, obviously I could think of it right here. We're just a couple of minutes in, but it's not horrible. I'll say that. It's not a horrible. I would write that as a story. I think that's an interesting take on it, but let's keep going and see how accurate I am. So Pike wants to go meet up with the Baul in order to, because they have the technology and everything. So if they contact the Baul, because the Red Angel's in the area, they need to find out what's going on. So far, I like Pike at times. When Pike actually has a pair, I like him. It's when Burnham starts telling him what to do that I lose respect for Pike, because Pike is supposed to be a great commander, not just a nice guy. But yes, Captain Pike. Yes, that Captain Pike. So let's move on. He is Captain of Discovery now, ABJ, in case you didn't know that. All right, so they're going onto the bridge. Prepare to disengage warp power. Okay, so they're going to Kaminar, where the Baul and the Kelpians live. And so this... Oh, and Thomas throws $4.99. God, make me... I watched some of the short. I didn't hear the ship name. The bow of the shuttle was HHN. You know which Uber. Yeah, and that's the thing. Okay, so you could argue that if the Archimedes, if the shuttle just says SHN... but the ship is the Archimedes, then what is SHN? Because here's the problem. If you look at other shuttles, they say what ship they came from. Like the Galileo 7, while it said Galileo on the side, it also said Enterprise on it. And so, what's the SHN for? Because that's like Shinzo. That's, unless there's a starship Shin, but they said it was the Archimedes. If they had said it was the starship Shin, then that would have made sense, and I would have been okay. But, whatever. But I do know which Uber chat, you son of a... Oh. Thank you. I forgot the sound. I know. All right. See, I told you, it's just going to be a rough night.
I now pronounce you man and turd. You may now kiss.
Joshua, what are you doing?
Nothing! I'm definitely not making you kiss Law. I repeat, I am not making you kiss Law. I'm definitely not. Hello, unfortunately there's not going to be a part 4. Dad just fixed the computer and he promises not to destroy it again as long as I don't do another one of those, so there's going to be no part 4. Wait, hold on, I just got a text message. Please do these videos, part 4 is very anticipated. Nope, I quit.
Get him.
Sing it! Sing it! Sing it!
There it is, guys. Oh, man. Part 5. Well, that was part... Wait. Yeah, that was part 5, because part 4 was actually Joshua saying there's not going to be a part 4. So that was part 5. If there's another one, it would be a part 6, which I don't know if you guys are going to be able to get him to go that far. But let me keep going, because otherwise I'm never going to get this done.
What else is new? Mr. Price held a Baul on all channels.
All right, so they're going to meet the Baul. Oh, I forgot to mute it. All right, so in part 4 of the Super Chat, who is texting Josh? I think it's you, Mr. Miles. But I don't know. And Thomas, I'm sorry, I should say, I did see that Memory Alpha, or Memory Lore, that's Lore Reloaded, says USS Archimedes, so they changed it. Yeah, they updated it today, obviously. And that under the references, it only lists this episode, not the short. Yeah, so I think that, I mean, I can see that, okay, we assume that the SHN is for Shinzo. But it only makes sense. It really doesn't make sense for it to be the Archimedes. There's... What? So the Baul are scanning just the weapon systems? How do you do that? That doesn't make any sense. Look, a sensor beam is... the SHN Archimedes is silent. Thank you, Charles. I didn't know that. That must explain it. So Trek Reviewer says it was you texting Josh. Oh, well, you guys can fight over that. And Night Breeze is taking off. You have a good one, Night Breeze. Thanks for dropping by. Warm up the face, or is what does Pike say that? If he does, I haven't gotten to that yet, sir. So but this doesn't make sense. So how do you sensors are designed to obviously look at something and gather as much information as possible. Now, you can pull all sorts of different information, and yeah, I'll check Discord just a second, Thomas, and thank you for the $1.99. Let me bring that up. That's funny. What is this from? Is that from Memory Alpha? If it is, that's hilarious. So this is from Memory Alpha. Thomas is digging up. Thank you, Thomas. You should officially be in my research department, where it shows that in the episode "The Brightest Star," that Lieutenant Philippa Georgiou of the USS Shinzo. So yes, so Memory Alpha says that it's the Shinzo, but Memory Alpha also says that it's the Archimedes because they haven't updated yet. But that's okay. They will. And because they're more than happy to retcon. Because, yeah, why the hell not? In the meantime, you want number 8. Of course you do.
Anal na trach, was betad, doch jeldienle.
Ariel natris oris bazi bedhead duchel dementa. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Oh man, I do love that. You know, and Mr. Miles, that is a genius idea. So if you didn't read Mr. Miles' comment, he's asking if it's possible to set it up so that you guys could listen in on the show on Discord, but not on the live stream. That is an excellent question, and I'm not 100% certain. So let me take a look at. I'll tell you what. I will investigate that for next week, and even if I can do it by Saturday, I'll even investigate it for Saturday for doing the Orville. Because that is brilliant, Mr. Miles. You, my friend, almost get a wrench. That was good. That was really good. So, yeah, I just need to figure out a way to isolate that audio and pipe it through to Discord when I'm playing it. And there's a couple of ways I may do it. And I think that, you see, here's the problem, and I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it yet, but one concept would be to have the Discord server connected to my laptop, now that I have a laptop, and play that on the Discord server only. And then that way it would be connected separately. Or I'll try to figure out a way to do it with the computer. It'd be better if I can do it all with the main computer, but that is actually a great idea, Mr. Miles. Thank you for that. I do appreciate it. So now let's move on because I'm going to be here all freaking night as it is. All right. So, so what I say about the sensors, you guys all threw me off. All right. So here's the thing about the sensors. So you beam a sensor beam at something. It records information, sends it back to you, right? It's like flooding, like if you shine a light at people, right? It just shines the light, and then whatever you see, you see. They're saying that they could tell that they're only looking at their weapons. Now you can, with a sensor sweep, you know, like, for example, they say, oh, what kind of weapons do they have? And Worf will be like, oh, well, looks like they have 32 phaser banks or whatever. But if you're the person receiving the scan, all you know is you're being scanned. That doesn't make any sense if they said that they're only scanned. That would be like they have a tight, narrow focus beam that already knows where the weapons systems are and only scans that part of the ship. That makes no sense whatsoever. But that's the problem here. They have some interesting story ideas going in this episode, but they're crapping all over the canon so badly that it's pissing me off anyway. So I'm... all right. And yeah, why would they only be looking at the weapons anyway? Wouldn't you want to know what their engine capability is, or defensive systems like shields and stuff, or shields? I mean, if they're from the lore fleet, they could have shields. And how you deal with someone with shields and shields are two different things. But I digress. Let's move on. All right. So they're trying to figure out what's going on. They say there's no sign of the Red Angel. They don't know why. And Saru is definitely being more aggressive because Pike is like, well, why don't the Bao'u response? And basically Saru's reaction is, because they're assholes! That's kind of what he's... So that's kind of... Saru has definitely gone through puberty or something. Because all of a sudden he is a lot more aggressive. And Pike is, of course, pointing out that they still need to investigate the Red Angel. Makes sense. And so Saru is talking about how, hey, if the Red Angel showed up, priests on the planet would know, and the priests all talk to each other, which means that there's a network of people. So you could, all you have to do is contact a priest on the planet. And Mr. Miles, that is a good idea. If everybody that does the super chat mentions the audio, I won't forget. That's good. And Zachary's here. Good to see you. Yeah, and now they're saying, well, wouldn't it... Okay, here's the discussion I was talking about earlier. So they're saying, wouldn't this be a violation of General Order 1? And here's... I mean, this is another stupid thing about Discovery. Why don't they call it the Prime Directive? Why do they keep having to be coy and say, General Order number 1? All right, we all know that General Order number 1 is the Prime Directive. So stop saying General Order number 1. That's annoying as my avatar. All right, so let's move on. All right, so here's the thing. I'm kind of torn on this one. And because here's the thing. So here's good old Michael. Have you ever noticed Michael always tilts her head for some reason? I have no idea why. But Michael is lecturing the captain about General Order 1. And this is my problem. She is not the first officer of this ship. Saru is. She is the science officer. All right? So... General Order 1 is what was called in TOS. It wasn't referred to as Prime Directive. Actually, it was called both in TOS. The term Prime Directive is from TOS. Because Kirk, I'm trying to remember if it was... Oh, I think it was... oh, gosh. Patterns of Force. Where Kirk says, where they say General Order number 1, and they talk about it a little bit, and then Kirk says, you know, that no Starfleet captain would ever violate the Prime Directive. And that's the first time that term was ever used. But anyway, I think it's Patterns of Force. But anyway, but yeah, so Burnham is, if anything, third officer, possibly. I don't think they've really formally established where she falls in the chain of command. But it should be Saru advising Pike, not her. So she is lecturing him about the Prime Directive, and it should be the other. I'm sorry, they are really, really pissing me off with the fact Thank you, Trilita. I got it right. They're really, really pissing me off with the fact that Burnham is constantly correcting Pike. Pike, look at the man. He looks like he should be large and in charge. And he keeps having to get his information from Burnham. Why isn't Burnham the captain if she's telling him what to do at every freaking turn? Oh my... God. Stop! I don't even... I genuinely don't know how to put into words how wrong this moment is. I really don't. Because here's the thing. I know that the writers of this show want to make Michael Burnham the hero. I get that. Even though I find it annoying and I really am tired of it, I understand that almost every episode is probably going to have Michael Burnham save the day in one way or another. I know that Michael Burnham is your classic Mary Sue, that everybody loves her, that everybody thinks she's the greatest thing ever, all that crap. I get that. I truly do. But what kind of demented, twisted writer wrote this freaking scene? I seriously am like this close to just walking away from this episode because of what just happened. Now, I'm going to try to calmly explain this. So, they are orbiting Saru's homeworld. Saru is the first and only Kelpian to leave that planet and, of course, join the Federation. Baul, they just established, are hostile to the Federation, which means that you have two races on this planet. One hates the Federation. The other has had no contact with the Federation, but one person. They figure out that these villages, which are the Kelpians, not the Baul, and hey, Trekyard's good to see you, Captain Foley. I miss you, man. I'm glad you're here. So, and by the way, you'll be impressed to know, Captain Foley, that I actually started out this review with a positive. I know you're going to find that difficult to believe. You think I just hate Discovery, but I did actually say something positive. You can ask them. I truly did. The first thing I did when I started playing this was I said something nice about this episode. But that's not this scene, obviously. And I'd be very curious to know what you thought of this particular scene, because, Captain Foley, I know you're a fair-minded guy. And so I truly want to know what you think. Let me finish my little tirade, and then please put your opinion in the chat. So... So, they're in orbit around Saru's homeworld. There are thousands of priests at every village that the Kelpians inhabit, and these priests form a network of information that hopefully they can make contact with, and then and get information on the Red Angel, because that's the whole purpose of their mission, right? That makes perfect sense. Now, I want you all to think about this. I want you to think about it. If you have not seen this scene, up until this point, and you are a writer for Star Trek Discovery. I know that's a difficult thing to imagine, but just think about that for a second. So, here's the situation. You need to make contact with the Kelpian leadership, the priests. You have a Kelpian on your ship, the only Kelpian who's ever made contact with Starfleet, and by the way, is the son of a priest. Okay? You see where I'm going with this? All right. I am not making this up. I swear I am not making this up. In fact, screw it. I'm going to risk the DMCA and play this for you. Because I told you all the background on it. All right? You are going to... I mean, I'm flabbergasted. I am truly flabbergasted. So, they need to make contact with a Kelpian priest. The only Kelpian to ever make contact with the Federation is on their ship. You with me? Alright, so let me bring this up. I will unmute the sound. Hopefully I can hear it because I threw my headphones down. That was stupid of me.
General Order 1, but let's try not to break it in the process. Burnham, as a xenoanthropologist, I think you're uniquely qualified to talk to a village priest.
So no, not Saru. Michael freaking Burnham is the one who is uniquely qualified to talk to a Kelpian on their own planet when he is the son of a Kelpian high priest. What the hell is wrong with these people? And I understand, and I'm sure that the reason that Pike doesn't want Saru to go is because Saru is obviously showing some aggressive tendencies and stuff like that. But if the Kelpians have never, ever seen anything, because they established earlier on, the Kelpians have never even seen a Ba'ul, right? They've never seen anything other than Kelpians as far as sentient life. So if there's absolutely no reason that you would not send Saru. Now, if you are concerned because of Saru's emotional state, you send someone with him, and at that point, yes, Michael Burnham would be a logical choice to send with him. Now, here's my prediction, and I'm about 99% certain I'm right about this. Here's my prediction. Michael Burnham is going to say, let's bring Saru, because she's so smart. So let's see what they actually do. So Saru, as expected, is saying he's the logical choice. He is.
Given all that suffering.
And so Pike is trying to say that he's a complicated choice. And okay, so Saru is saying that, are you doubting my ability? And he's saying no, but because of the biological and behavioral changes you're undergoing, I can, and so basically, yeah, that's exactly what he's doing.
Imagine the pressure you might feel to share the truth with your people about Vahara.
And
suggesting that I might be incapable of following Starfleet regulations, or that I would disobey your...
And Pike is worried that he might tell them the truth about what happens to them when they go through their little ganglia thing. And here's the thing. He is, in fact, a Kelpian. We already, and I know, and this is the thing, if you look at the Prime Directive, like I was talking about earlier, talking to the Kelpians is not a violation of the Prime Directive, because the Kelpians already know about warp travel, they already know about space travel, and by the way, the Ba'ul are already warp-capable species, so there's no Prime Directive factor here, despite what they're trying to say. And so there is no reason that he couldn't. By the way, while I'm here, let me tell you, the whole thing about us dying is a lie. You know, and that would not violate the Prime Directive. especially since he's one of them anyway. If you want to say it's a violation of the Prime Directive for Saru to tell his fellow Kelpians about his ganglia, then it is a violation of the Prime Directive for Pike to even talk to Saru. So, yes. And I meant to unmute the audio for that particular scene, but yeah, then I didn't. But yeah, that's stupid. All right. And I did, but I didn't. Thank you. I didn't realize I didn't unmute it. How does the Kelpie know about warp? Because of the Baul. The Baul, they said, have been warp capable for like 20 years. Here it is. Here it is. Michael Burnham is going to Pike and saying, let Saru come with me, because they've never seen a non-Kelpian. And again, Captain Foley, if you're still here, I get it. I know that there's some big picture stuff, but that was ridiculously stupid. No captain would ignore the fact that he has a Kelpian on the ship. All right? That's beyond stupid. The Kelpians don't know about Baul tech. Yes, they do. They absolutely know about it. They don't know all the details of how it works, but they know about it. And in fact, Saru even talked about it earlier in this episode, that that's the reason that they hold the Baul in such high regard is their technology. They know what the technology is capable of. They just don't. They're not technological people themselves. It would be like, for example, if you go to a person who lives in relative poverty in, say, South America or Africa, and they don't have they don't have electricity, they don't have running water or anything, but they've heard of it. They know what it can be. But yeah. I can't, Brian. It's too negative for me, man. I'm sorry, man. I know, Captain Foley, that you have trouble with that. I promise you that when I'm not doing Discovery reviews, I'm not this negative. But that did piss me off. I mean, come on. That was a bit much. However, I actually, and Captain Foley, if you're still here, I did actually say at the beginning of this review some positive stuff. There's some actually good stuff about the story, but the way they really have to go out of their way to make Michael Burnham better than she is. You don't have to have Michael Burnham the answer to every problem, and that's the biggest struggle with Discovery, is that they can't get past Michael Burnham. Nerdrotic is in the house. Good to see you, my friend. Says, watch the Orville. It's brilliant tonight. Get your helmet, Anti-Trekker. It gets worse. There's no defending Star Trek Discovery anymore. Oh, man. Yeah, Gary, you missed. I had almost as bad a meltdown as I did on the comm badges. I don't over the whole thing with the Kelpian with Pike. So, after saying they need to establish contact with a Kelpian priest, saying that Burnham is uniquely qualified to make contact. Anyway, so let me move on. All right, so now we're back in sickbay. We have Hugh is looking over his own results from the tests. But the thing is, Tentacle, they may not know what warp is exactly, but they know about the advanced tech. Oh, you saw my meltdown? Okay, Nerdrotic. But anyway, so, and I hope I didn't scare Mrs. Nerdrotic. So Hugh is in sickbay. He's freaking out because he had a scar on his shoulder, apparently. I don't remember seeing a scar, but maybe they just wrote that in now. And yes, you can use it if you want. You just say, but poor Anti-Trekker is going to get killed over, he's going to have a heart attack over this. And I get it, Trekheads. I mean, so far, I don't think the episode is the worst thing they've ever done, but this is there's just little things that they're doing that are like, ugh. All right, so Stamets is telling the whole story about how Hugh got the scar that he doesn't have on his shoulder. And so basically he has a new body that was created by the Mycelium network. So he's a rebuilt person, I guess. So basically he's been rebuilt somehow. That's kind of weird, but whatever. This B plot with Stamets and Hugh. I gotta say, I mean, both good actors. Surf has taken off. Have a good one, my friend. I mean, they're both good actors and everything, and the scene is well done. But yeah, it's kind of pointless. Honestly, it just doesn't add anything to this story. So we have Burnham and Saru are now on the surface. They're looking at the giant thing that all the Kelpians gathered around to get eaten, and Burnham is scanning it. So they're calling it the Watchful Eye, which I remember they called it that in The Brightest Star, which you would think that walking around with a tricorder and all that and scanning it's probably not a good idea if it's called the Watchful Eye, but yeah. And yeah, Hector, that is kind of funny. He has no scar, and they were saying how perfect his body is, but he still has crow feet and wrinkles and stuff, yeah. So there's no Kelpians around, but it's because they're done with their daily work and they don't go out after dark, and it's almost sundown, so they must be all at home. And so yeah, Burnham's talking about how beautiful Kaminar is, how awesome it is. There's no hunger, there's no poverty. Yeah, but no technology, but whatever. But then, you know, there's the whole thing about getting eaten by the Baul, but whatever. And yes, I'm looking forward to Orville. We'll talk about that on Saturday. So now he's calling his dad a collaborator, but he was an unwitting one because his dad was one of the priests that helped continue the balance, blah, blah, blah. And so Burnham and Saru are just having a moment on the beach. So Hugh is now his perfect self. Yes, apparently now. So Saru's talking about how different it all seems to him now, which makes sense because his eyes have been open to the truth of things. However, now the Baul device in their village is activating because obviously they know that Burnham is there, and you got to do something about Burnham because Burnham is awesome. And so they're looking at the flowers and talking about how pretty they are. Oh, and here is Saru's sister picking a flower, of course. CDH is here. How you doing, my friend? Watching some Discovery. So Saru's going over, speaking in his native tongue with some subtitles. And yes, it's his sister. They recognize each other. Burnham whips out her communicator so she can spy on brother and sister meeting each other for the first time in 18 years and understand what they're saying. So they thought he was dead. They thought he was captured by the Watchful Eye because of the fact that he spoke out against stuff. So he's telling his sister about how he found his future in the stars, and now he's going to introduce her to the ultimate feeling of euphoria. She gets to meet Michael Burnham. Trolita says, I'm tired of straight religious white people being bad and jabs at most everything I watch now. Well, yeah, that's... yeah. Oh, thank God, Antrigger said, and Burnham whips out her, and I assume the worst. Yeah. We haven't seen that yet. That's probably coming. Just give it time. All right, so Burnham is introducing herself to Saru's sister, and she's like, my name is Michael. And now, once again, for like the 5th time, they're going to explain how the Universal Translator works on her communicator that's more advanced than the communicators that Kirk had, because why not? Talking about how awesome the universe is. One thing that's interesting, Kelpian eyes look just like Robo-Chick's eyes, but Well, her one eye. Is Tilly in any scene? Yeah, Tilly was on an earlier scene. Tilly is now keeper of the 100,000 years of knowledge that came from the big glowing ball. She's going to whip out Saru's gangula, or as they call them over at Nerdrotic, his all by herself. Wait. His death tickles? Death tickles? Is that what you call them, Nerdrotic? That's awesome. I got two lines mixed up. Sorry. Thomas Potts says Tilly's lifting cargo boxes by herself. Yes. I'm waiting for... When are we going to find out if puberty gives Kelpian superpowers? I'm waiting for that. Because, you know, that's what happens. I like death tickles. That's awesome. All right, so they're drinking tea now at Saru's house. Or, well, sorry, Saru's sister's house. Because I guess she's the priest now because, I guess, Dad's dead. And... So, Dad is dead because he got eaten. Because, you know, that's awesome. Yeah, testicles. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Nerdrotic, you should copyright that term and get a nickel every time someone else says it. Ex-Kelpians. Puberty sets it off. Yes! Da-na-na-na-na-na. Oh, man. Saru is aggressive because he's 11 years overdue for his Pon Farr. Exactly. Mirror Saru was super strong in season 1, then he got eaten. Well, yeah, well. Alright, so now Michael Burnham is explaining to Saru's sister that they're looking for the Red Angel. Sounds like a badass popsicle. A death testicle. So they're trying to they're trying to figure out what's going on with the Red Angel. They're talking to Saru's sister about it. And apparently they've never seen a Red Angel. But she's pissed because... So she's pissed off because they didn't come back for her. They came back because of the Red Angel thing. Okay. Wait a minute. Wait. Hold on. Okay. How does this make any sense? So they started out this episode with Saru talking about how he's lost the one thing that makes him him, which is his fear. They talked about all throughout season 1 how fear is the sole motivation of Kelpians. They even talked about that in The Brightest Star and all that. So Kelpians are a fearful creature because they're a prey creature, and they're fear. So, why is Saru's sister pissed off at Saru? Because, and I quote, "It is because you were not brave enough to face the balance as the rest of us do." So she has lost respect for her brother because he was not brave enough. A species 100% motivated by fear. A species that sees fear as a virtue, which was the most interesting thing about the Kelpians, because that was the first radically new and original thing that they did on this show. That was the coolest thing that they did on this show. The idea of a prey species evolving to sentience and being motivated by fear and seeing fear as a virtue the same way that a more predatory species like humans finds bravery, or courage, as we say. How does this make any sense? I genuinely don't know. I don't understand. I'm confused. And Doctor Who may have done a prey species in the past, but I'm just saying, as far as the stuff that they've done on this, you know, women don't need to make sense. That's quantum. Yes, that is actually, that's the answer. It's all about quantum. All right, so now everything's shaking. So the Bawu must be ready to show up or something. Hopefully Burnham will tell them they ate Kelpian. That would be awesome, but I don't think that's going to happen. So she really doesn't like her brother now. So the camera movement is better. That one scene at the beginning was the only really bad scene with the camera. Overall, the cinematography's been pretty decent, which is a hallmark of Discovery, by the way. And I'm sure that Captain Foley's long gone because he hates when I get negative. But this is a positive for the series overall. So, from a technical standpoint, overall the series is very well put together. Great cinematography, pretty good acting all around, great visual effects. All that stuff is awesome. The problem is that the story and the writing is so bad that it doesn't matter. You drunk yet? No, I am definitely not drunk. But let's keep going here. The sound is still stupid. They need to turn down the background music. It's really hard to hear the dialogue. The sound is a little bit of a mixed bag. I'll give you that, Tentacle, that I think that the sound could stand some improvement. But as far as the camera movements overall, I don't hate them, if that makes any sense. Trek viewers taking off. Have a good one, my friend. Wait until they get back in space. They put the camera in a pendulum. I hope you were kidding, Hector. But I wouldn't be surprised if you were being accurate. The autocorrect turned big into Bird of Prey. Oh, where is Bird of Prey 5? Is that... Well, Bird of Prey 5 doesn't stay up late, Zachary. So he'll watch this tomorrow morning. So, in probably about... Let's see, it's 12:14 right now. So probably, I would guess, maybe about between 6 and 8 hours from now, Bird of Prey is going to be watching this. And I say, Bird of Prey, good morning. I hope you're doing well. And I truly, truly appreciate the fact that I know you're going to watch this. And notice I did not say anything about Alexa, call Mom. So, but anyway, let's move on. Hey, Trekker, would you just go off the air if you did get drunk? I probably would. I don't want to be completely drunk on the show because I think that I could say something or do something that I would regret later on. So I don't want to do that. But that being said, I think the camera's on a big spring. I don't know. But let's keep going. So Burnham and Saru beamed up as the Baul were showing up because they're afraid. Pansy, Foley is braver than Anti-Trekker. Why? They should do an episode of Discovery with the Muppets. That would be good. Yeah, that would definitely be an improvement. A Canadian is braver than an American? No. Okay. Oh, because he was drunk. I get it. Yeah. Well, no. It's a difference between bravery and wisdom. All right. So let's move on. So they beamed. Oh, yellow alert. Okay. So we are at yellow alert. And Saru and Burnham have been called to the bridge. So now the Baul are hailing Discovery because they refused to answer earlier. I don't know if I mentioned that. It's audio only. Of course it is. Because they want to make sure you can't see them for the big reveal later. Which, as I said, they are one of two things. Either the Baul are Kelpians that have lost their gangula, or they are frail creatures, and they're afraid of the Kelpians because the Kelpians at puberty turn into superheroes. And so we'll find out which it is. And so Pike tells Saru to basically shut up, and he starts talking to the Baul. So they're saying, you've taken what belongs to us, a Kelpian. Starfleet promised that it would not meddle in the internal affairs of our planet. Which, of course, supports my theory that I put out some months ago that the Federation is okay with the Baul eating a sentient people. I'm just making that clear. The Federation is okay with that, at least officially. So they know exactly what's going on. Tentacle says the Baul are the ones that killed Tashiar. Okay. Well, I haven't seen one yet, so we'll see. So now they're talking about, hey, we're here to investigate the signal that appeared over your planet. You probably know about it. Can you help us? Blah, blah, blah. And so Pike is trying to be diplomatic and all that. But the Baul are desperate to get, they want Saru returned to them. And Saru just crushed his console with his bare hands. So there we go. Saru is gaining superpowers. He is now officially super strong. But he's also got a temper on him now, so now he's yelling. Even though Pike told him to shut up and not to talk while he was trying to negotiate, he's yelling at the Baul. And yeah, you stole our cow, give it back. That's basically what they're saying. So now Saru is doing the dumbest thing possible by not only identifying himself, but telling him who his family members are. You know, like he's like, I am Saru, son of whoever and brother of whoever. It's like, why don't you just tell him, hey, if you really want to piss me off, why don't you wipe out my village? Here's the address. Didn't Burnham want to interfere in that Churches episode? Shh, Thomas. Burnham only wants to interfere when the script says so. But let's keep going. So they killed his father. And so, yeah, oh boy. Hey, Mercer Creates in the house. Good to see you, as is Amy. Thank you both for hanging out. They gave Burnham a new expertise earlier in the episode. Did I miss it? Which expertise is that? Because I know that, I mean, she's, besides the fact that she's more Kelpian than a Kelpian now, apparently. Is that what you're talking about, or was there something else that I missed? Because it's hard to keep track of all of Michael Burnham's skills. So what are you referring to specifically, Mercer? And now I got to wait for you to respond. So hurry up and respond, because I don't want to be here until 5 o'clock in the morning. And I'm going to be here until 5 o'clock in the morning if I don't get going on this episode. Something big before she beamed down. I forgot specifically. Pike said she was good at it. Well, Pike said that she was uniquely qualified because she's a xenobiologist, which they've said that before. That's not a new skill for her. That's just reinforcing an old one. But anyway, let's... So the Baul are definitely... I gotta admit, the Baul have got a great communication system where it sounds very imposing and all that. However, that kind of reinforces the idea to me that they're complete and utter pussies. I think that the Baul are going to turn out to be absolute wimps. But yeah. I wonder if the Federation are happy the Klingon works see humans. Well, they should be fine with it since they're okay with the Baul eating Kelpians. Ooh, 10 Baul sentry ships are coming up. So Pike orders a red alert. Oh, we've seen these ships in the trailers for this season. They are kind of cool looking. Let me show you guys. You've seen this before. But, you know, there's the ships flying in tight formation. And they're big. I mean, look at the size of them compared to Discovery. So those are some seriously big ships. However, the thing is that if they've only been warp capable for 20 years, chances are that Discovery's weapons are far superior to anything the Baul have. Seems reminiscent of the one with Clint Howard in it. Oh, because they talk a good game, but they're actually pussies. Yeah, you're probably right. And the big ships, though, here's the thing. I'm willing to bet that they're never going to get into a serious firefight, but I think that the Federation probably outguns them. Warm up the phasers. There you go. Who was it that said warm up the phasers earlier? So he just said warm up the phasers. Which, here's the thing. Every now and then Pike throws those little folksy lines out there, and they're all right. I don't have a problem with that. But what I have a problem with is Pike sometimes seeming like he's a great commander and leader, and other times looking like, oh, please, Michael Burnham, please tell me what to do. And so I'm really torn on Pike, because half the time he's great, and half the time he sucks. But let's take a look here. So, and this is Pike absolutely at his best here. Just honestly, look at the look on his face. This is good right here. Pike looks deadly serious. Notice the subtitle there. He is sitting there going, he's got these gigantic spaceships that outnumber him 10 to 1 and dwarf the size of his vessel. And he is not even showing the slightest bit of fear or anything like that. He's like, hey, you want to tangle with us? You better consider that, because we will kick your ass. That's what Pike is basically saying here. And I guess those ships will be in the quiz in the next few months. You're probably right, Thomas. But that's the thing. This is Pike awesome. The problem is they also have Pike. They also have Pussy Pike. And it's like he's like bipolar. He keeps switching back and forth between badass Pike and Pussy Pike. And he just, that's a problem with this show. And it's because they're constantly trying to trump up Michael Burnham by dragging everybody else down. So yes, I coined the phrase. So Nerdrotic gets, what was it? The testicles thing. Oh gosh, now I can't remember what he said. Nerdrotic, if you're still here, I'm forgetting what you call it. Was it fear? What was the testicles thing? I forgot. Somebody remind me. But Nerdrotic gets the testicles thing, but I get Pussy Pike. Desticles. Yes, thank you. So yes. So Nerdrotic gets desticles, but I get Pussy Pike. All right, so let's move on. So they're just demanding that the Kelpian, that they turn him over. And again, look at this is a separate shot, but look at the look on Pike. This is awesome right here. I wish that Pike was like this all the time. Because if he was acting like this all the time, I would be a fan of this show if Pike was the captain from the beginning. In fact, this would show me that if they did a Captain Pike show with Anson Mount as Captain Pike, it could work. But the problem is that this is only half of Pike. We're missing Pussy Pike. So, sorry, no, Cuckton Pike doesn't work, Nerdrotic. It is Pussy Pike. That's what it is from now on. Pike has Burnham and a bunch of mushrooms. Yes, exactly. You got Burnham and mushrooms on your ship. There's no way you could possibly be defeated. Oh, man. This is pissing me off because it's good. This, and hey, Mecca, good to see you. So, it's funny because this episode, I'll tell you, Mecca, I had a meltdown like my comm badge meltdown earlier in this episode. There are some things in this episode that genuinely piss me off. But then there are some moments in this episode that are freaking awesome. And this is it right here. Again, look at the look on Pike's face right here. He is still negotiating with these people that outnumber him 10 to 1. Their ships are massive compared to Discovery. They have a comm system that reeks of intimidation. And they say, you would risk all the lives of all your people for one Kelpian. And Pike, without blinking, looks at him with this deadly serious and says, he is our people. Holy crap, this is awesome. I wish that the rest of the episode was even 1/4 as good as this sequence right here. This Pike sequence is probably the best thing I've seen in all of Discovery, absolutely bar none. The problem is that there was so much garbage coming before it that it doesn't make for a good episode. It just makes for a great scene in a crap episode. But yeah, that's a good way to put it, Charles. This is a genuine Captain Kirk level moment right here. Pike has won my respect 100%. The problem is, I guarantee you there's going to be another Pussy Pike moment before the end of this episode. I guarantee you. And he's already had a couple of Pussy Pike moments earlier where Burnham had to hold his hand and tell him how to put together a landing party and all that crap. But, yeah. This is weird. This is a really bipolar episode. But let's keep going. So the Ba'ul are now activating. Now again, very stupid of Saru to give the Ba'ul his home address, because now they are activating the pylon in his village, which means they're going to probably try to threaten to kill his people. And they're giving the standard: you've interfered with our affairs. You will not. If you don't return the Kelpian, there'll be blood on your hands. Oh, man. Again, look at Tam. This is pissing me off because it's so awesome. Why is this not Pike all the time? And that's cool, Becca. But again, look at his face here. Look at that face. This is him shooting the eyes of death at Saru because Saru is speaking up again out of turn, and Pike has had it. He's like, look, Saru, you need to get the hell out of here because I'm trying to deal with a crisis. So, this is... So, this is interesting, but it's pissing me off at the same time, which I don't know. Oh, yeah, I don't know. This is weird. He just kicked Saru off the bridge. That's good. So while Saru was speaking out of turn, he just says, Mr. Saru, you will leave the bridge. That was awesome. So thank you for... This is the first genuine, badass male moment in Star Trek Discovery. So... stop passing over my clever comment, you bastard. Sorry. I didn't mean to go over your clever comment, Mr. Miles. Actually, I did, because you said you were going to leave too many comments today. Yeah, I should have done that to Burnham 5. You're absolutely right. See, that's the thing. If that's the Pike we had for the entire series, then when Burnham would speak up, he would say, Burnham, off the bridge now. You know, that should have been the end of it. Anson Mount is really proving his chops for this scene. The problem is, this is probably the only scene that we're going to ever get to see Anson Mount perform like this. This is so freaking awesome. So, maybe not Pussy Pike, but Pike and Perk? Pike and Perk? I don't get that. I'm losing... All right, so I would definitely give a Pike series a chance. I would too. I tell you, Anson Mount has definitely convinced me that he could play the crap out of Pike. The problem is that all the episodes leading up to this, Pike has been like, you could see it in him that he had the potential, but then he's turned him into a pussy. Pike's Achilles heel, his fear of mansplaining. I sent you a picture of the list of episodes for the season. Looks like no break. Let me take a look, Thomas. See what you're talking about. Oh, that there's no season break? That's weird. Sounds of Thunder. So, and then we have Light and Shadows of Murfreesboro, Project Daedalus, The Red Angel, Perpetual Infinity, and then episode 27, 28, and 29 that have not been named. But yeah, let me see. So we're currently on on Sounds of Thunder, 28, 7, 14, 20. You're right. It looks like they're not taking a break. I'm surprised, but I'm glad. I think it might be, though, because the last episode is in mid-April, and April 1st is when they said that they're going to start the Twilight Zone series. So I think they're just trying to time it right with that. Heading off to concert. Awesome, Amy. Have fun. I wouldn't mind a Pike miniseries leading up to the wheelchair. That would actually be kind of cool. I definitely am on board with Anson Mount as Pike if they keep writing him like he is in this one scene. And would you guys, those of you that haven't seen it and plan to see this episode in the future, like Mecha Random, I'll be interested. She's probably gone now because I know she's trying to avoid spoilers. But when she watches it, I'll be very interested to see what people think of this scene. Because this is, without a doubt, in my opinion, the best scene that Discovery's ever had. But the problem is that it highlights toxic masculinity. You know. All right, so let's keep going. We still got a ways to go. So Saru's left the bridge, and he's on the turbo lift. Got a nice little lens flare, because we got to have lens flares. Getting off the turbo lift, and everybody's in a panic because it's red alert time. They're like, red alert? Wait, what's red alert? We're used to black alert. The best scene in Star Trek Discovery is the last scene. It's always the best scene. Oh, I don't know. Nerdrotic saying, wait to the end. You're really making me nervous about that, Nerdrotic. I only have so many things around. I don't want to break something valuable. All right, so Saru is beaming down to the planet by himself. And then the door opens. Oh, of course, Michael Burnham is going to talk him down, right? So Saru's going to beam down to the planet to turn himself in. Michael Burnham's like, no, no, no. And so Michael's threatening him by phaser. So now we're supposed to get Michael being a badass here. You know, I don't want to use this. I'm sorry, this should not be Michael here. But whatever. She's saying, you're not thinking clearly, Saru. Yeah, whatever. Usually they can beat themselves down with an 8-second delay, not 60. Yeah, but, you know, Saru's stupid. And writing. So Michael's got the phaser on him. And then Saru says, wouldn't you do this for your own brother? And so, of course, Michael's going to not shoot him. And let him beam down. Because Michael is, you know, too nice. And, you know, here's the thing that's really beginning to bother me about Michael this season. Granted, there are a lot of things that bother me about Michael Burnham. But remember how I complimented her for having a different look on her face? Well, that seems to be the only look this season. What's with this look this season? So now it's just hysterical Michael, or hysterical face Michael. But whatever. Say Burnham, not Michael. You should have Mrs. Anti-Trekker make you some sugar glass before your reviews so you have something to break. Yes, I should. Alright, so Saru beamed down. Oa says somebody beamed down. Okay. Not a painful, angry moment, but just a stupid moment in writing. So, on the bridge, Oa says, somebody is beaming down to the planet. To which Pike responds, who is it? And then, the comm system comes on, it's Michael Burnham, and she says, it's Saru. He's surrendering him. Like she was a part of the conversation. She should have said, Burnham to bridge, Saru has just beamed down to the planet or something. But no. Looking forward to Aftermath starting April 1st. Yeah. The only problem is, Kobayashi Maru Faley, is that on April 1st is the Twilight Zone. So we'll see how that goes. Alright, so. The Sentry ships are now powering down their weapons because Saru has surrendered himself. Of course. And yeah, I guess, yeah, Michael can read minds now. That must be it. Alright, so they're tracking the bow. Oh, and then the battleship just disappeared. So, off the scopes. Little House on the Prairie, the immigrant years, yes. Yeah, I can't believe they're premiering Twilight Zone on April Fool's Day. As bad as CBS's reputation is, that is a bad move. So now, hold on. I called this at the beginning of the episode that they were going to use the 100,000 years worth of information they got from the giant testicle floating in space. And sure enough, they are now digging through the information to try and find what the secret of the Bawu is. If I put all the work into clever comments and Ad Checker skips them. No, I'm purposely not reading your comments, Mr. Miles. Oh, and Michael's got a new shirt for reasons. Because you've got, here's the thing. Captain Kirk had his green tunic because he was the captain of the ship, right? Michael Burnham now gets a special uniform. Why? Please, somebody tell me, why is Michael Burnham the only person to wear this uniform? The white uniform. Because she's pure and good, and she's Michael fricking Burnham. Yeah, is that Starfleet underwear or something? Yeah. But, yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, and that shot with Robot Lady in the foreground is kind of funny, yeah. Oh, and that actually highlights, look at her eye. And, yeah, if you look at her eye, Robot Lady's eye, since she's right there in the foreground, that is the Kelpian eye. So they, use the same freaking contact lens for everybody now. Because she secretly remembered the Baku. Oh, that must be it. That must be it. So, yeah, she does look like she's about to go on a murder spree, doesn't she? All right, so let's... So they have thousands of years worth of statistical information from Saru's home planet. Of course they do. And now they're sorting through it because they have... Chunky Tilly, Robot Lady, and Michael Burnham are in the same room. Their combined intellect is able to go through 100,000 years worth of data in 2 minutes and find the ultimate answer to everything. And Zachary's like, oh my God, just noticed Robot Lady, just pooped myself. Yeah. So that was quite the interesting shot there. So yeah, now they're looking at the Kelpian maps, but now we're going to go back to Saru hanging out with his sister. And you know what? I'm going to stop here. I'm going to have to do it. This is killing me. And so I will finish it tomorrow, just like I did last week. So here's what I'm going to say. Now that we are about 60 to 65% of the way through this episode. Is this episode, if you could fix this episode and make this clearly the best episode of Discovery thus far. Now, I'm only talking about the first half because we don't know how it's going to end, and according to Neurotic, it's going to be horrible. But here's the thing, Brian. So if I were trying to score this, here's the problem with trying to score this episode. You saw my meltdown earlier. There are some things in this episode that I find downright offensive. There are some things in this episode that are downright great. If this episode had all been like the scene on the bridge that I loved with Anson Mount being a badass as Pike, this episode would probably be an 8 out of 10. I mean, a genuinely good episode. However, if this whole episode was like when Captain Pike picked Michael Burnham instead of freaking Saru to go meet up with the Kelpians, it would have been a 0 or a 1 out of 10, right? So, right now I'm going to say we're probably sitting at about a 4, between a 4 and a 5, which is on the high side for Discovery, but definitely not their best. So, yeah, it does kind of look like the TMP uniform that Burnham was wearing, except that there's no, the TMP uniforms were basically two-tone. How many Star Trek 5s would you give this Star Trek Discovery? Yeah, we have to come up with a rating of Star Trek 5s. That's a tough one. Because Star Trek V is hilariously bad. This is not hilariously bad. This is infuriatingly bad, but also, you know, and it's there's some scenes of greatness, and it was so close. Man, that Pike scene was good, but man, there's a lot of crap here. But with all that, guys, I do want to say thank you for putting up with me. I've been going for about 2 hours. We're going to finish it up tomorrow morning. If you can't join me tomorrow, I understand everybody's schedule a little different. You can go to antitrekker.com, where we keep a there's a special section there that has the archive of all the live streams. So absolutely check it out there when you get a chance after tomorrow morning. In the meantime, remember, all our lives are a story, and I hate that. Screw it. I'm out. Oh, no audio.
I have got something better!
Alexander throws a couple of his fake Canadian bucks in there. Thank you so much, Alexander. I do truly appreciate it. And interesting challenge. You say, explain what Sybok would do in the episode. That is interesting because, see, if we simply replaced Michael Burnham with Sybok, then what would have happened actually is two things. So Sybok would have gone to Hugh, first of all, when he was in sickbay recovering, and taken away his pain so that Hugh wouldn't have all these doubts and stuff about himself and become the greatest doctor ever. And in fact, he would become the inspiration for Leonard McCoy to become a Starfleet surgeon. Now, the other side of it, though, and this is what's really interesting, is that Sybok also would have done the same thing to Saru, so that he could deal with his changing emotion and his stress and everything about the Kelpians. Remember, what Sybok does is take away people's pain, and Saru's pain is all about the suffering of the Kelpians. He would take that away, and Saru would be able to more clearly think and help Captain Pike, and so none of the screw-ups would have happened. Further, Sybok would have used his powers on the Ba'ul themselves. And assuming my theory is true, that the Ba'ul are actually a bunch of pussies that are afraid of the Kelpians, they would learn to live in peace with the Kelpians, and the entire planet would be better. So yeah, if Sybok was in this instead of Michael Burnham, then by right now, the Kelpians and the Ba'ul would literally be holding hands and singing songs together, and Captain Pike would be the greatest captain in the history of Starfleet. And because the accident never would have happened, Captain Kirk would have just been, you know, oh, yeah, he was all right. But Captain Pike, he was the man. So, yeah, that's exactly what would have happened. And thank you again, Alexander. And the rest of you, have a great whatever.
And sing it, sing it, sing it. My, this here Anakin guy. Sing it. Maybe Vader someday later, now he's just a small fry. Sing it. And left his home and kissed his mama goodbye. Sing.
I have got something better. I have got something better.
And Charles says, Uber chat number 6, final shot. You have one more in you? All right, I will have one more with you, my friend. Unfortunately, I won't be able to drink tomorrow morning, so this is for tomorrow. I don't want my pain taken away. I need my pain. Yes, classic Kirk from one of the worst Star Trek adventures ever. All right, so I thank you guys for all that. But Charles, enjoy your shot. How much of the bottle I have left? Not a whole lot. Ah, yes. The beginning of the credit music before it kicks in sounds like the Transporter score. It does. I agree with you. And that's not a bad thing to say, because I actually didn't hate that song. Your bottle is done? Well, good job, man. If my bottle was done, I'd probably be like, hey, everybody, start the discovery. Love you, man. You know, so that wouldn't be that great. CBS leaked that Red Angel is Neelix. I'm still leaning towards the Red Angel is Michael Burnham from the future. The first Transformers movie is legit entertainment. I agree with you, Mercer. I actually enjoyed the first Transformers movie, but hated the second, third, fourth, whatever. I thought Bumblebee was definitely a step up, but needed a little bit of tweaking. But I enjoyed Bumblebee, but I just didn't think it was great. And with that, take it away, Lore Reloaded.
Saying soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. Soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. Sing it! Sing it! Sing it! Sing it! How good the boy could be. So we took.
You're right, Charles. I forgot to play Uber chat number 6 for you. I'm sorry.
I now pronounce you man and turd. You may now kiss.
Joshua, what are you doing?
Nothing, nothing. I'm definitely not making you kiss Law. I repeat, I am not making you kiss Law. I'm definitely not. Hello, unfortunately there's not going to be a part 4. Dad just fixed the computer and he promises not to destroy it again as long as I don't do another one of those, so there's going to be no part 4. Wait, hold on, I just got a text message. Please do these videos, part 4 is very anticipated. Nope, I quit.
Get him.
Sing it! Sing it! Sing it!
So sorry about that little coughing fit there. What I did was, right when I hit the button, I took a big old drink and a little bit went down the wrong way, and it's just like, ah. So here's the thing, Marlena, I'll tell you this before I go. Amazingly, my gigantic meltdown today was not a canon violation. So there is that. I have to say, as far as canon is concerned, aside from already established things, the only really blatant canon violation that I could really think of is the whole thing with renaming the Shinzo the Archimedes in order to make it a little less contrived. But, yeah. Andy Drucker's biggest meltdown was First Contact. No. First Contact I didn't really melt down, like, not on the level of Discovery. Pike was his best moment, though. As far as when I got mad, or when I was talking about how awesome he was. Because I mean, I had two big Pike things. One was where I was so angry, and that's the thing. I gotta say, at least I was angry for a genuine story point instead of some stupid flagrant violation of canon. So I will give him that much. At least the biggest problems are no longer canon. Like, I guess, is that a good thing?
Him there, and we told the tale how his Morty chlorons were off the scale, and he might fulfill the prophecy. Sing it! Morty chlorons, Morty chlorons, Morty. Sing it! 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 Chlorons, Morty. Sing it!